Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Magic Arena Run. This is a little bit late for midweek Magic. Well, yesterday was the Passover, so Kagpisak Samayak everyone. And but we're not going to miss this one. There we don't exactly have a lot of the cards, but it's a good time to experience some of the interesting archetypes. There was one that I'm really gravitating towards to probably will port it over to explore eventually. That is spirits. So we're doing the block constructed version of this because that is the theme of this week's midweek magic. So the cards have to come from either the Shadows Over Innistrad Remastered, including the Blast from the Past packs, or from Midnight Hunt, or from Crimson Vow. So that's the short of it. What is this deck about? Well, no surprise. It's all about spirits. It's all about the tempo. So unfortunately, we don't have that many flash spirits as we used to, but we still have rattle chains. We still have spectral adversary. We are running them alongside Drogskull Captain for a lot of protection. Geist Slice Snare adds to that. Spell Queller is our main flash and tempo control. Other than that, some bits of removal, Fading Hope, Circle of Confinement, one Fateful Absence. I might change the balance of this. The reason for the Circle of Confinement is mostly just for Geistlight Snare. But Mana Leak is not too bad in itself. We could probably run it at that. One extra note is that we are running Wing Portent here. Pretty much 3 mana, instant draw a card for each creature you control with flying. And given that the only non-flying creature we have is Geist of Saint Traff, I think we can accept that. We at least get the Midnight Hunt lands, because otherwise the original Shadows lands were really unexciting. And to think that they gave us those in Strixhaven as rares. Anyway, enough talk. Let's go with this one. Let's see how we pan out here. And yeah, let's see how things go. I've seen werewolves. I've seen mono red burn. I think I am expecting to. I also seen humans. I'm expecting to see quite a bit of them as well. This is definitely a good hand to keep. Turn 1 Wanderer gives it. We can hold back Absence and Geistlight Snare. The Dream Shackle Geist is really our constant tempo, but also very hard to keep up. Anyway, Wanderer in turn 1. Are we willing to block this one? We'll take. Might as well play the Port Town, reveal the plains. We'll see how our opponent wants to. I suspect that the madness is going to be very strong here. We're basically just holding up Geistlight Snare. Our opponent can go to discard and sack, but they probably want to play a land first if they're aiming for madness. Blood Fountain creates a blood token. Well, they can't activate this anymore. Might as well Fateful Absence. I suspected some weirdness on that one. I suspected some weirdness on that one because usually we want to be able to hold this up as well. So yeah, my guess was right. They did not have this. They did not have the third land on hand. Opponent might actually start cracking just to get to that. We can go Circle of Confinement, but those only hit creatures. We're really just going to keep holding up Geistlight Snare for the time being. Let's see. Did our opponent hit their third land? No, they might actually start cracking. I suspect they would crack the blood token first. Especially if they have madness. The blood token. Oh, it's for Edgar. Ooh. They do hit the Pit Fighter, but we're. Technically, I could have gone for Circle, because I would still be able to hold up. Now here's the one weakness of this particular deck. namely that the wing portents are our only card draw. Normally, we're looking out for curiosity style effects. Mad Vampire. This is well. Thankfully, we can still confine that, and we might as well play this now. We know our opponent is we know our opponent is hard up for mana, that we're able to just... Okay, well, not too hard up. They finally drew that. They might just go for a burn spell, which is expected. We could protect it if it's... Yeah, we can protect it, and we definitely will. I could confine, but might be a bit overkill. I'm just gonna tap this for no real reason. Now there is now we do know our opponent's running Edgar and Company, so they do have larger vampires. Though Blood Tithe Harvester is not it. That is a much better circle of confinement target. Yeah, we'll also play Wanderer, where we could expect we might expect a pump spell of sorts, but here this might be the one time Geist is good. Well, he was very good back in his day. These days, power level's a little tapered off. Still a beating though, so we'll take that. Yeah, we kind of benefited from our opponent stumbling a bit on mana, and there we go. Got the win. Pretty solid. Let's see if we can get a few more. Call this and call this one really quickly. I would say that you really want to be quite aggressive. Our opponent just really got unlucky in the mana. I also think that maybe splashing white, it does extend into mid range. It just doesn't. But I don't really feel the mana base supports it that well. Actually, let's see. They do have the slow. They will have the slow lands from Midnight Hunt for red, white, and white black. But that clearly supports a black. That clearly supports a white main. So that's a bit of an awkward one. Okay, we are keeping this turn. Turn 1 Fading Hope. Turn 2 Spectral Adversary Surprise. And we can just keep holding back. Yeah, I'm also gonna just pay this now because I want to set up the next few turns. The Port Town is a bit questionable. I could survive on just 3 lands, but having as many blue sources as possible for Spectral Adversary, not such a bad idea. And we're just basically gonna be hoping for Drogskull and Infantry. No, not Drogskull Infantry. That's the Disturb card. We're hoping for the... Well, there's our Wing Portent. We probably don't want to cast it right away. We want... In fact, we can hold it up. Thank goodness it's an instant. Our opponent's probably going to go wide with tokens. Larder Zombie. That one's fine. In fact, we don't have to show our hand if all they're dropping are Larder Zombies. So we'll just keep beating down a bit. I suspect token making spell on the way soon. Something like a Lingering Souls would be a really juicy spell queller target. So with the subsequent burn spell that follows. Oh, opponent's playing Ursmal Shieldbreaker. And do note it's 4 or less, which is actually quite solid. Again, we're gonna hold up the next spell queller. Then we can juice up with Wing Portent afterwards. And all of a sudden, Denick by himself, cards in graveyards cannot beat the target. Yeah, it's fine. If our opponent has a kill spell, we'll take it. We'll accept it. No, opponent does not have a kill spell. And so what we could kind of do is, if our opponent has something, we can wing port Dorothea. We'll wing port and draw a card for. Okay, no real hits there. We could just Circle of Confinement end of turn. Actually, no, not end of turn. Yeah, I think they have a lot of extra ways to protect with their blue mana. They just did not hit it, so there we go. That is a that's another solid victory. 3 mana is actually the most that we're ever gonna pay for it. So I did end up. So deck building note, I did cut down to 22 lands. An alternate plan would be if you're not that comfortable, maybe just cut 1 land instead, but have a second Evolving Wilds. We don't really have like our only realistic turn 1 plays are Mausoleum Wonder and Fading Hope. We just have to really hold stuff up on turn 2. Actually, I probably want to take a look at other spells I could hold up on turn 2. There's a bunch of good return spells. Okay, this one's definitely solid. Definitely want to get the turn 2 Rattle Chains. Special. Let's see what our opponent has here. The problem is if our opponent has a turn 3 drop, like say Adeline, we're missing the ball. Welcoming the Vampire is... that's fine. Now this is an ETB effect, not a cast trigger, so we could stall things out. Ambitious Farmhand. Probably don't want to Spell Queller that. I probably want to Geistlight Snare it first. They won't be able to pay for it, and I want to use these first before I use the other cards. We'll take the hit. Oh, do they have removal? If they have removal, they have removal. Let's get it out of the way. Rattle Chains, pretty much doing his job. Fateful Absence, okay, that... So we could play Geist the Saint Draft. Or do I want to hold up Spell Queller and company? Let's hold up. At least we have 1 Geistlight Snare if our opponent goes for something expensive. If our opponent goes for something cheap, we can Spell Queller it. If our opponent does nothing, we draw a card. Well, we're going Spell Queller, I guess. So I can just do Dream Shackle Geist. Beginning of combat, we can lock down the Vampire. And we get to hold up Geistlight Snare. Brutal Qatar is going to be one of the more popular cards here, that's for sure. And now we get to hold up Spell Queller for, well, not forever, almost. Opponent goes Enduring Angel. We can't counter that, which is a problem. It also has double strike, but we can tap it. So, yeah, Spell Queller doesn't do anything for that. We'll have to let it go. We can Circle of Confinement the Welcoming Vampire because now... And the thing is, yeah, I can just leave back Dorothea for the time being. If our opponent swings, we just block with Dorothea. Ambitious farmhand. Probably not. No, I don't know if they're gonna get Coven anytime soon, so I'm gonna actually let that go. The thing is, when this flips equal to your life total, opponent's not gonna even swing. I think they should, but they won't. Okay, we can destroy it instead. Opponent might, if they're reaching for the clue token, they probably don't have that many good cards left in hand. Anyway, keep Dorothea on standby because probably expecting another Enduring Angel. That's probably the one case where you want to have Geistlight Snare instead. Though realistically, especially when you consider that they are Vanquish the Horde. Yeah, sure. Voice of the Blessed. Now we spell Queller that. And you can even we can even enchant it for, and I'm more likely, okay, we kind of want to, let's see, their outs are generally like a Brutal Qatar. Okay, if they're, in that case, we'll just play Drog Skull Captain. If it's another Vanquish the Horde, can't really do anything about it. Invitation only. Yeah, they're just gonna clear the board. Supposedly some sort of control deck, but missing quite a lot of elements, I would say. Yeah, we can also just flash in the Spell Queller as a blocker. Yeah, they're flooded. Now, it'll be annoying if they did turn out to have a... Yeah, now we put it on top. And this is where the tempo gains come in. If our opponent goes for, like, say, a board wipe, we can just Spell Queller or flash in. Vanquish the Horde, sure. And just flash in our last Spell Queller for the last points of damage. There we go. We survived, well, 3 board wipes and was able to out-tempo some of the spot removal. So pretty solid there. Good job. Actually, those were pretty fast games. Well, this might be a really fast episode. I think I'll do one more for the day. Oh yeah, I heard there's some weirdness with the math on the rewards, but haven't really noticed it, or maybe because I wasn't really paying attention. The woes of a free-to-play player. Yeah, this is solid. We can. No, there is a bit of awkwardness here, but yeah, we kind of have to do the turn. There is some awkwardness with the Evolving Wilds here. That's why I only have one copy of this. If our opponent just goes to remove Wanderer, that's fine. We'll hold up the Rattle Chains for their removal. If they cast something significant, we have Geistlight Snare. If it's just a creature, we can Fading Hope. If they do nothing, they do nothing. Oh no, they're gonna do something. Rattle Chains is the best answer here. We miss out on the +1/+1, but heck, that's fine. We're gonna keep holding up Geistlight Snare and Fading Hope here, so we'll pass. Now opponent has 2 cards to worry about. And actually, if you've been buying a lot of, well, between Jumpstart and Smoldering Egg, yeah, we guys slice near that. This allows us to hold up Wing Portent, refill our hand. Dorothea, probably don't need her that much. Yeah, 3 mana for 2 cards. I guess it's okay. Actually, there is an Arcane Infusion. Look at the top 4. Sure. Opponent's blue-red seems to be the other popular one. Geist Wave to return. You know what? We'll draw cards first. Well, if you control that permanent, so since they don't control it, they're not really getting anything anyway. Let's keep swinging. Now, it is admittedly very suspicious that we're not playing the Mausoleum Wanderer, but let them suspect away. Geist Flame Reservoir. So that's their end game. Well, there's our Circle of Confinement that we don't read. Actually, not at this point. I am gonna hold up 1 Mausoleum Wanderer, even if it's just attacks. Opponent's going for the Abrade. We actually kind of need lands now, but I'm actually willing to hold up another Spell Queller. I will have to say that Geist Flame Reservoir was already very... Now, this is on cast, so they will get counters regardless of whether I counter or not, but now they're doing this the hard way. Also, they're really down low on life, so they're gonna need a lot of burn here. Consider... Yeah, that's not worth it. We'll let it go. Because if our opponent just goes to burn, say, one of these 2, I can just replace it with Spectral Adversary. Yeah, but that's smacks of desperation. So we can actually also just replace it with Spell Queller. And I suspect they might not have any... Oh, we got Port Town and BTB's tap. We'll play 1 Wanderer here. That should give us enough power. I'm really curious about what our opponent's build for blue-red is, but it feels awfully slow. You really need to be a lot faster. I would suspect because the Arcane Infusion fell slow. The Shreds of Sanity feels very slow too. Yeah, you really have to be faster. They did have the right idea of having a lot of removal. I just don't know if they had enough. But they probably will be adding a lot more. Even they did have some bounce actually, but I think the bounce could have been better. There's really no reason for them to bounce their own stuff for the most part. But that is what it is. Anyway, that's going to be it for this very quick episode of Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications and whatnot. And as always, everyone, have a great Holy Week. Hope to see you guys again next time. Take care. God bless. Stay safe wherever you are. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.